What's up, you guys? Ross Sapp here, managing editor of Fightful.com. It is September 5th. We got Smackdown Live to talk about. Nowhere near as big as next week's Smackdown Live or Tuesday in general is going to be. Next week, we'll have the Mae Young Classic Finals, and we will go live right after that concludes. It's all live from Las Vegas, so we'll talk about that big day next week, and a little bit tonight. I am joined tonight by Anna Bauert. Anna, how are you?
Hello. I'm exhausted, but I'm good. That was a fun show. I think we entered the darkest timeline of SmackDown, but this is good.
Yeah, a couple of them. There were a couple of really naughty things on this show. Jeff, you are the king of naughty style.
I'm the cleanest one of all of us. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. Also, guys, I want to say best wishes to Fightful lead boxing writer Carlos Toro. He is in the heart of Hurricane Irma right now in Puerto Rico. So we're definitely wishing him the best and hoping that he gets through everything. I pitched an idea to Shane Helms for him to critique the worst hurricane jokes that he has sent. And he said no because it would encourage more. So that ain't happening anytime soon. Guys, please go visit FightfulPods.com for all your podcast needs. I released the full story time with J.J. Dillon filming that we did. One of, I think, 2 or 3 that we did. And weekends where we don't have a lot of stuff, like not a lot of WWE or UFC podcasts to run, I will run those in addition to a members-only show or a Fightful Books It, something like that. But head over there as well. Of course, join in on our live coverage all the time. And we're looking to get more interactive with you guys on the stories themselves. So come, comment, join our forums, talk with our community as well. So as I mentioned, next week we go live after the Mae Young Classic. We're going to talk a little bit about that at the end of the show. But there was a news story that emerged today. Shane McMahon wasn't the only head honcho out of control right now. Jeff Jarrett ousted, at least for right now, as whatever. I'll get the details momentarily. I've been on the phone with people. I've been texting people from GFW throughout the evening. Jeff, what was your reaction to hearing the news that Jeff was out of power?
A little bit of sadness because I think Jeff Jarrett really does care about GFW and really did want to bring it back after getting control again. And a little bit of, is it wrong to say non-shock when you're bringing in so many political players in there that things may, especially even with Anthem too. I mean, there's a lot of people there who play a lot of politics, and I'm not terribly surprised at the same time.
When I tweeted something like GFW was a shit show, and I had a lot of people, some apologists basically saying, "Oh, why don't you ever say that about WWE?" And I'm like, well, Playboy, how many people have been in control of WWE in the last year? Because I can count, like, it'll be 4 by the end of the week in Global Force Wrestling, TNA, Impact. They've had 3 names this year, and they might go back to Impact from the sounds of it because the Global Force merger was not complete yet. And now, from what I've heard and I've talked to, none of the wrestlers knew what was going to happen. Jeff had no idea what was going to happen. He was going to host a bit of a staff party tonight where they were going to do a fantasy football draft. That ain't happening now. That definitely isn't happening. The wrestlers that I spoke to, one of which said the more things change, the more things stay the same. For them in that regard, because this is like something that seems to happen every few months. And that's unfortunate.
Which podcast domain is going to be running GFW? Is it going to be Conrad Thompson or is it going to be Court Bauer?
Oh,
really?
No comment.
Oh no, I was making.
Hey, they couldn't do much worse, could they?
No.
One of the people that I spoke to, the one that said the more things change, the more they stay the same, was one of 2 people that told me that they felt like they didn't know anybody at the last tapings because of all the roster overturn. So there's that too. I've got a bunch more information on this over at Fightful.com on my story. There's been some beef between Jeff Jarrett and Ed Nordholm. Jeff Jarrett's been, with some people, a little difficult to deal with behind the scenes. I'll talk more about that on the list and your boy tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern with Jimmy Van, because I know he's going to want to talk about that. Anna, you going to run Global Force?
Sure, I'll give it a shot. Might as well. It's just, I feel really badly for the roster because this is their job and they're caught in the middle of this. And as you said, how many times has this happened this year? Yeah, I'm with Jeff. It wasn't exactly surprising, but at this point, just kind of sitting back and watching it unfold, just like, okay, what's next? It sucks.
From Dixie Carter to Billy Corgan to Jeff Jarrett and Ed Nordholm to who the hell knows next? Like, we don't know who's next. And they got a pay-per-view in a couple months, a big one. So they'll have a little bit of time to figure it out because, well, I mean, it won't affect the programming, at least in the interim. But yeah, like I said, I got a story up on Fightful.com. Go check that out. It's got a lot of exclusive information as well. WWE SmackDown Live. Anna, what do you think of these intro promos that they're doing on SmackDown Live? Personally, I think they're cheesy as hell, but I do like that they're exclusive to SmackDown Live, either because I don't have to see them on Raw or because it gives SmackDown a little bit of a different feel.
Hats off to them for doing something different. I just kind of wish that they would just try something else, because if I see one more vignette started by someone shadowboxing, I'm going to punch my screen. And it's just like, is Orton watching TV at this point? Why is he standing sideways? It was all very staged in a very bizarre way, but I do like that they're trying this.
Jeffrey, do these do anything for you?
I'm going to claim ignorance because I kind of tune them out. What are we talking about exactly?
There we go. That's all I needed. That's all I needed.
No, okay. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember
Don't
the beginning.
apologize if it makes you tune out. It makes you tune out, man. That's just how it is. I didn't tune out during the Kevin Owens Shane segment. Boy, that got started pretty hot, Jeff.
Yeah, I liked it. And there was I made a mental note of this. I really liked Kevin Owens' delivery, especially of that last line, because there is a tendency in the Vince McMahon school of acting to really chew that dialogue a little bit and to really, and your children, that kind of thing. And I thought Kevin Owens gave it. I mean, look, he did the dramatic pauses for that. We knew the line was coming, but the way he delivered it wasn't over the top, and it really came off well, I thought.
And what were your thoughts on this? KO asks if Shane wants to be in the spotlight because Vince didn't give him enough attention. This is after Shane runs down to the ring and prevents Kevin Owens from being the special guest referee in Carmella and Natalia's match, which I love that he wants to do that so much. If anything, we know that Vince gave Shane too much attention. I mean, he beat the living shit out of him on TV on several occasions. Then KO gets a little real with Shane and says that everybody would be much better off if he didn't survive his helicopter crash. I can't pretend that I expected that line to be unleashed.
No, that was, yep, that happened. I think they watched Roman and Cena last week and went, oh, this is it. This is money. And then just all hell was unleashed ever since. I'm so behind everything Kevin Owens is doing right now. Him coming out to trying to take the ref shirt off the ref again is just, and the whole taking over KO show. I wouldn't be angry with that. I'd be pretty behind it. Yeah, that line was intense, but I think at this point in time, given where the company is at and where it's coming from, I think this is about to propel them into a different era, maybe, hopefully. So I'm very much behind this. What did the audience members say that threw Shane off?
I don't know if it threw him off, but I think it just I think they just said something like, you suck or something. I don't know. It made the crowd laugh, though.
Yeah.
I couldn't really hear it. If anybody was there and can let me know what they were saying, whether it's right now on the live broadcast or maybe after, just tweet it to me. Please let me know. I would love to know that. We're going to talk about this entire angle right now because it was really a show-long angle. And this is something a couple of years ago I was begging for WWE to do, because a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, once somebody was on the show, they weren't on the show anymore that night. There was not this weaving in and out throughout the program. And I love that they do this. I love the continuity that was utilized in this as well. Shane goes wild at KO bringing up his kids after he warned him not to, and just flat out beats Kevin Owens' ass. Real proper, as we say here on the Fightful podcast. Daniel Bryan comes out and is visibly disappointed. Daniel Bryan's like facial expressions let you know something was coming. Like his disappointment that he expressed, I loved it.
Well, I really appreciate that he brought up later with Shane the whole Miz thing on Talking Smack. Like, I wanted to punch that guy's face in. I didn't, because of the greater good of the company. And them even bringing in that KO was going to sue the company and Shane and everyone involved. It's going to areas that we haven't seen in a very long time. And I would have been behind. I mean, I was behind KO versus Shane anyway, but adding this extra bit now is to bring it to new levels, and I think it could possibly bring the brand to a new level and hopefully get them out of what's been going on with the title for the past few months.
Backstage, Daniel Bryan apologizes to KO. KO says he's suing WWE, the McMahon family, and pressing charges. Jeff, are we getting Clarence Mason back?
Or Rusev's lawyer?
Oh, man. Tommaso Ciampa?
Tommaso Ciampa. That would be a good one, too.
I actually, for one of the filmings of the List and Your Boy recently, I spoke to Daivari about Tommaso Ciampa being his lawyer, and we kind of agreed that 12 years ago when Tommaso Ciampa portrayed that lawyer on TV, he was 20 and looked 42. Now he's like 31 and looks 41.
Wasn't his name something like Lance Penmanship or something like that on screen?
Yeah, it was something. It was like Thomas something Esquire.
Okay. I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I wanted to go over what Anna said. I think the helicopter line was unnecessary. And I think that's where it toes the line over to bad taste just to try and get heat. It's kind of like when, was it the Bella angle when she said she wished she had died in the womb, or even the Paige bringing up, Reed's death is kind of on the very far end of the spectrum, and the Brie Bella wish you had died in the womb is on the other end. And this
Eddie's
is kind
in
of
hell.
Yeah, and Eddie's in hell. Those are the types of lines you don't need. You've already got heat enough for this angle. I was wondering during the beatdown how many times Shane actually potatoed Kevin Owens. If you heard Chris Jericho talking about that Survivor Series match where he had to give a receipt to Shane because Shane just wouldn't calm down once he got hyped up, because that's what he does in real life. I did like the continuity of bringing up that Triple H gave Kevin Owens the Universal Championship. I liked that a lot. That was a nice touch. Are we doing the entire angle, or are you just going to keep going chronologically?
We're going to go through the whole thing right now.
Okay, I'll cut myself off there.
Well, backstage, Daniel Bryan gets a phone call from someone. We aren't told who, instructing him to do something, instructing him to take care of it. He calls out Shane McMahon to the ring. And in that great spot of continuity, Daniel Bryan reminds Shane that he was the one who prevented Daniel Bryan from beating up The Miz last year when The Miz went buck wild on Talking Smack. That was a really good touch, Jeff.
Yeah. No, continuity and rewarding viewers for paying attention are hallmarks of a well-written television show, which it always just amazes us when WWE ends up doing it. That's the thing. Like you're talking about the weaving in and out of a through line for an entire episode. Yeah, that's good writing, and it shocks me when they do it, and I wish they do it more, and then they don't, which tends to be disappointing.
Anna, we so often see where they just abandon any semblance of continuity in which they held. They've been doing a lot better with that lately.
Yeah. Total Diva Eps on Twitter brought up the locked box that was first mentioned back when Shane came back. Please, God, bring this back. Please be the thing that sets this match off, and that is it, because that would be like, I would take off every single ad had I owned for them.
It's gone. Shane lost.
No, this is no. I'm sorry. I'm not.
Every
I'm not
other stipulation in that match was upheld forever. So you gotta uphold the lockbox stipulation, right? Because Shane wasn't in control of Raw or any other show after he lost to the Undertaker. So.
Vince McMahon sent out Daniel Bryan to the ring to fire his son. Will indefinitely suspend his son. You gotta think at this point, Shane is a little pissed, and that locked box is still somewhere in the house. I need this. I need this for me. Just please do this.
The crowd thanks Shane. Thank you, Shane. All that stuff. Backstage, Kevin Owens is wandering around and says, this is just the beginning. I'm going to make this show my playground. I'm interested in that. But then Daniel Bryan drops the bomb, Anna. Vince McMahon's coming to SmackDown Live next week. They're doing some stuff in Vegas next Tuesday.
Yep, I'm all behind this. I kind of thought that's where they were going with the phone call, but I'm glad that they dropped it in before the end of the episode.
I'm all behind them taking 6 weeks in between SmackDown pay-per-views if we're going to get SmackDown Lives and then a Mae Young Classic finale or finals, whatever the hell you want to call it, all together. Man, next Tuesday is going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. Jeff, what do you think Vince McMahon says?
That the one way he can settle it is in Hell in a Cell. I think he sets up the Hell in the Cell match. Let me again backtrack just a little bit and posit something to you, because it's a point I've been mulling, and I'm still not certain of my opinion of it. So I'll put it to you two whether or not I'm thinking correctly here. I thought there was a misstep here in the way that Shane reacted to Daniel Bryan when he brought him out. I thought, you know, the kind of the WWE way is that when McMahon's get in trouble is to show defiance instead of contrition. And I thought Shane should have really acted ashamed of himself rather than defiant and defensive. And I thought that would have made the angle go over a little bit better. What do you two think?
I would agree with that. Anna?
I think it's just setting up for what's next. I didn't have an issue with it. I mean, it kind of came across like, well, Your Honor, he mentioned my family, so I killed him. Which is, yeah, it's over the top, but I don't know. I liked how they handled it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, you know, a 40-something, you know, middle-aged father wouldn't necessarily fly off the handle because of the kids. You know, there'd have to be a little bit more to that. That's something a 20-year-old might.
Yeah, he's a 40-something guy who wears a baseball jersey when he wrestles, though.
That's true. I mean, I was just thinking of this is more not arguing, but discussing nuance. So I was just wondering about that.
Sure. I mean, I don't dislike it or anything. I don't dislike the way they did it, but I wouldn't have been opposed to that either. Guys, check out the Holy Smokes MMA podcast that we did today at 3 Eastern. We previewed UFC 215 for this weekend, talked UFC Rotterdam, Nick Diaz, Paulie Malignaggi, Elias Theodorou showed up. Also, we have features on the main page. Carlos Toro did a honest-to-God Spanish translation of the Sexy Star letter. He didn't run it through Google. He didn't summarize it, anything like that. Also, Brandon Howard's awesome feature on Kavita Devai. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And the Mae Young Classic and her very impressive YouTube numbers that she's dropped. So lots of stuff like that on Fightful.com today. So we got this story. Everybody knew this was the direction they were going. The Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon thing. Jeff, do we see Shane McMahon take a bump off Hell in a Cell next month?
Oh, yeah. That's why he keeps saying you fall off of tall things. I think he takes another bump off the top of the cage.
Will it be more spectacular?
No, it'll be. I don't think you can. I think there'll be a crash pad somewhere nearby. How do you make it more spectacular? Doing it backwards and doing a flip? I don't know how you can, or like he goes to the roof of the arena and jumps off. I don't. It's like, I'm gonna kill my son some one way or another. We're gonna make this cage a double Hell in the Cell, and you can jump off of that. Jumping off of that structure is impressive enough for me.
It's a shame it's not in Cleveland because he could powerbomb Shane onto MGK again. But hey, it's in Detroit, so maybe Kid Rock's free. Maybe he's free. Anna, what are you expecting out of this? Do you think Hell in a Cell? Do you think that maybe a Shane versus Owen Survivor Series team situation too? They like to incorporate Shane into these Survivor Series teams.
Yeah, possibly. I'm all up for whatever they do with this. I completely trust KO with everything. And Shano he's damn good at what he does. It just, like, I really hope we don't get the argument from people of like, oh, he's only jumping off the top of the cell again.
Exactly.
You do it. See how well you live after that. Yeah.
Crash through a table yourself going off the top of that thing and then talk to me.
Yeah.
So, believe it or not, there were other things that happened on this show. Quite a bit, actually. Natalya defeated Carmella. A basic match. Most of it takes place during the commercial. Some of the spots look kind of slow, but it accomplished what it needed to. Natalya was barely a story in this match, but it was a good way to get her a win, I thought. Ellsworth tries to cash in for Carmella. It was really weird, and then it backfires and Natalya wins. Carmella goes off on Ellsworth, calls him a charity case, asks why he has a job there, insinuates that his mom should have put him up for adoption, goes off on his lack of chin. Like, Carmella, she went hard. I felt really bad for Ellsworth by the end of this, Anna.
Yeah. Yep. Almost makes you forget that he was the first Miss Money in the Bank. I will say one thing about the actual match is there's something they did the catfight slap thing at the start of it, and it just made me go, look, we've seen what Natty can do. We've seen her put Nikki Bella through a mirror. I want to see her do, like, that can be her thing. She has it in her. It's believable within the character. And then we did get something like that when Carmella had her legs locked around Natty's waist, and then Natty just started pummeling the shit out of her. So I thought that was fantastic. Ellsworth, it's just been a rough week for couples everywhere. I witnessed a public breakup yesterday, and this was on par with that. I don't know.
Did the public breakup that you see later involve domestic abuse?
I hope not. It was very confusing because I thought that the couple were speaking in another language, but it turns out that they were just extremely bogan Australian. So I don't know where that went after that. But are we talking about the little part that they had later on, or are we getting to that?
Yeah, we can go right into it. So Ellsworth apologizes repeatedly, and Carmella seems to accept it, but says that they're doing things her way now. Then plants a big old smooch on Ellsworth and slaps him. And I got to say, her facial expression afterwards, I was like, man, I didn't know how I feel about this, but I buy it, whatever it is. Just because of the look on her face afterwards. And I was like, I'm not sure anybody knows what's going on, but she does. And that's all that matters to me. But I get the feeling it didn't go over as well with most.
Well, first of all, if they hadn't been doing it her way up till this point, I'm really confused by what that situation was. I just look at these segments. It's like Alicia Fox with Noam Dar when she first made out with him and then slapped him as well. It's like, this was written by a dude, because I'm really confused by this. Like, from a female perspective, unless someone has been watching a lot of soap operas, this doesn't happen.
I'll give you the inside scoop right now. If you see it on WWE TV, it was written by a dude.
Yup. Pretty much. Yeah. It's just funny because I always hear like, oh, from guys, girls are so confusing. It's like, yeah, because we're written like that. It doesn't happen like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let
Jeff,
me
what do you make of all this?
let me give you some clarification on why Ellsworth was cashing in at this time. It was a non-title match. So when she was going for the pin, he was throwing in the briefcase to say, let's make this the title match and make this the pin to count for the title.
But as we know, traditionally, the opponent has to get to their feet.
Yeah.
They start.
Well, they play fast and loose. They play fast and loose with that.
They do, but I mean, every one-on-one match has been like that. But then again, the triple threat match that Rollins inserted himself into didn't have to do that. So I wonder if maybe in the middle of the match. See, WWE has a rule book that absolutely never addressed shit like this because the book sucked. But
right, but also remember Daniel Bryan's win over Big Show was when Big Show was down and they never made him get up. It depends on what they want to do for the story. I thought she went so hard against Ellsworth in that promo at first that was going to be how they wrote him off. That's how
I did too.
Confused I was about it because I wrote, are they going to cut Ellsworth for cost cutting, like they did the fireworks? And then the promo afterwards, I viewed it as Ellsworth viewed this thing with Carmella as a partnership. And now it's, no, I'm the one running this show. I'm going to screw with your mind a little bit to make sure you know what your place is here. And
it's an employer-employee relationship now.
Yeah, and it's a lot like, I mean, if you want to make a comic book corollary, Poison Ivy, when she, brainwashes men by kissing them with, lipstick that brainwashes them. That's what this is. This is, it's Stockholm Syndrome pretty much. It's a Stockholm Syndrome angle.
Also, I want to say, if they were cost cutting, Ellsworth isn't the guy that I cost cut because he is worth far more than whatever they're paying him. And that is not me making a joke. He has been phenomenal since coming.
I agree, but Vince's predilections towards managers and just unnecessary. I mean, I could view him looking at Ellsworth and going, Carmella's a star and he's holding her down, and I disagree with that. And
sure.
You disagree with that.
Carmella bought a new house this week. Good for her. Dolph Ziggler comes out. He has re-debuted. He guilts the crowd about wanting gimmicks. He comes out as John Cena, Randy Savage, and Naomi to troll the crowd. Whether it's in storyline or real life, I don't know if Naomi's the one that I pick on because Jimmy Uso is going to be beating that ass soon, Jeff.
Yeah, you don't. It's funny because I really liked it at first, and then Chris Novembrino, who's co-hosting Shake Them Ropes with me this week, wrote me and said, "No, Naomi's the one character you don't want to undermine on TV because the women need all the help they can get."
Yeah.
And especially a champion who is a little bit shaky in the crowd's eyes, you don't want to demean them as, oh, they're just this glow dancing thing as opposed to a legitimate wrestler. And I know it's supposed to get heat, but this is the type of thing you should cut a promo on if you're at the desk in 1986 Crockett, not in WWE where it's all about spectacle. It's more of self commentary, and self commentary never works. Imitating other wrestlers never gets over, and it doesn't get heat anymore for the most part.
I don't know if it's like an imitation, like Stevie Richards, Damian Sandow, Charlie Haas. It's just it's a mocking more than anything. I would really have the Usos kick the shit out of him though, like make him be a guy that has heat with everybody. Not just baby faces. Everybody hates the guy. Like Corey Graves hates him. Byron Saxton hates him. Tom Phillips hates him. The Usos hate him, and they put the boots to him for that too. And like for some reason, Dolph Ziggler gets a kick out of it because he's a giant prick. Anna, what's up with Dolph Ziggler? What is it going anywhere? Can it become anything? I don't know.
So I labeled this section in my notes, Ziggler kills my soul. And the top thing I wrote was, so his gimmick is lacking self-insight. This was just really painful to watch.
It's everybody's gimmick.
Well, some do it better than others. I felt like suing WWE for the 5 minutes of my life that I will never get back. But there were two things that came up on Twitter from this that I found interesting. Naomi tweeted pictures of her and Ziggler together with, I'm guessing, their lyrics. They smile in your face all the time. They want you to take your place. The backstabbers, backstabbers. So I would really like to see Naomi versus Dolph Ziggler in a squash match, and Naomi just destroys him. The other thing was a tweet from WWE. We're sorry, the old heel Ziggler can't come to the phone right now. If this was based on the whole Taylor Swift thing, I'm going to punch someone in the face. It's not good. It's just not good, and Taylor Swift is not worth it. Just, oh my God.
Wow, that escalated quickly.
Hot damn. Also, I never put over Vince Russo's tweets, but I got to say, I enjoyed this one. He said, maybe Shane McMahon got himself suspended so he could spend Christmas with his family. Well played. Well played. Aiden English defeated Sami Zayn. He's on a bit of a hot streak, Jeff.
Is he on a hot streak or is Sami Zayn on a cold streak?
Aiden English has beaten Randy Orton, Ty Dillinger, and Sami Zayn of late.
I don't understand this program at all. This is the equivalent doing what they did to Sammy this week. This is what they did to Bailey on Raw. It's the most straight ahead babyface character you can have, and they're making him look like a jerk for chasing off a guy who beat him clean. I mean, I don't mind him losing clean necessarily. And I don't even due to a mistake, but then the temper tantrum afterwards is kind of, you're like, no, that doesn't fit this character.
Well, I can't say that I expected Aiden English to have 4 singles wins in 8 weeks on SmackDown Live. That's perhaps more puzzling. What are they doing with Sami Zayn? What are they doing with Aiden English? I don't know if there's any substance behind it.
Can I be the guy to say I think Vince just likes guys who annoy crowds by singing? I think that's all there is to it. I think that's why he's getting the wins.
Elias is doing wonderfully with it.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing to the point to where I'm like, damn, they could go babyface with this. And if he starts singing about his opponents, that could get hot.
Oh,
Anna, is there anything that you see? Do you see any direction for this Sami Zayn, Aiden English storyline?
No.
Or lack thereof?
Good on Aiden English, but these Sammy losses, they're starting to physically hurt me. The replay was almost longer than the match itself, and all Sammy got was his face smashed against the mat. I enjoyed the chase out, but it hurts me. I came up with an idea. You know how Sammy and Ty tagged together not too long ago, about a month ago? Can we just please have them together? And they can be the Canadian Destroyers in brackets of your heart. And then it could be heart with HART. And then you can have a winky face at the end of it. Just even that lame little piece of crap is better than what they are doing right now with Sammy. Why is this a spot? Why? Is it because people like him? Do they hate us that much?
I don't think Sammy's ever hurt by losses. I really don't. I think he's...
No, but it hurts me.
He's not hurt within the context of how they see him. Let's put it that way. I think there's a lot of people that think that Sami Zayn should be a main eventer in this company, and I don't think they see
a good storyline for him.
I agree.
I think we've seen some in the past. I mean, I've loved a lot of the stuff they do with Kevin Owens and him.
Well, that's just it. That's the only story they have.
Yeah, that's true. And that was a built-in one. They didn't have to do a whole lot of work on that one.
Yeah. Let me throw a future WrestleMania angle at you right now. Elias Sampson starts playing the guitar, and The Rock comes out for a rock concert. Boom. There you go.
That could be another Rock 10-second WrestleMania match.
Mm-hmm. Or just coming out on the guitar and doing a dueling promo and then giving him a rock bottom and going away. Yeah, you're right. No, but yeah, I'd like to see, I'd like to see some understanding of the Sami Zayn character other than he comes out to ska and he dresses like a paper boy, or he's the underdog from the underground. I'd like to see a little bit of understanding and then building a story around that, because I think he's had enough time on this roster where you could actually do something like that.
I remember when I did a post-Raw show with Vince Russo, and he was like, yeah, they need to do vignettes for everybody, even Sami Zayn. When he was debuting, I'm like, what are they going to do? Show him skanking in a fedora to, like, the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones or some shit? Like, what does he do? Like, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Yeah, no, I don't want that, but I want some depth to him.
Usos revealed that they're going to face the New Day in a Las Vegas street fight next week. That adds to an even a ridiculously loaded Las Vegas show. And I'm sure the match is going to be awesome. Jeff, what the hell are you laughing at? What's so funny?
It's so convenient that they're going to have a Las Vegas street fight in Las Vegas as opposed to a Poughkeepsie street fight in Las Vegas.
Well, you can't do that. They're different. And geographically, they'll run into issues. Like if you have a Miami street fight or a Fort Myers street fight next week in Las Vegas, there's not going to be enough wind to have that damn street fight.
I'm just saying the convenience is just awesome that they could book a Las Vegas street fight in the middle of Las Vegas, Sean Ross Sapp. It is amazing.
If you do a Chicago street fight next week, there is no guarantee that a hobo will be there to stab one of the wrestlers next week in Vegas. Instead, what's going to happen, they're going to brawl. Some old lady's going to ask him for quarters to gamble at the slot machine. Like, that's where...
A white tiger's going to appear. Someone's getting thrown through a slot machine at some point.
Oh, please go through Celine Dion.
Carrot Top's going to introduce them and tell bad jokes.
Celine Dion will say, "My heart will go on." It'll be awesome.
Carrot Top, who was interviewed by Fightful.com recently, mind you. So let me tell you, that's how my August went, guys. So
he's a nice guy. Actually, I played with him once. On a bill in college. Yeah, he won't remember me at all, but he's a very nice guy.
Anna, anything you're looking forward to out of this Las Vegas street fight?
All of that now. I really hope it ends up with a pin or something on a blackjack table. That's kind of it.
I guess you could say this is a real roll of the dice.
Oh, I hate you.
I'll tell you what, guys, you won't be rolling the dice when you go to FightfulPods.com, where you can check out all of our podcasts, post-Raw, post-Smackdown, post-pay-per-view, WWE or UFC. We got our Fightful books up there. We have members-only shows up there, archive shows including J.J. Dillon, Shane Helms, Matt Riddle, Elias Theodoru, Sean Pearson, Patrick Cote, tons of UFC stars, pro wrestling personalities, Fightful boxing podcasts, all that over there. And, of course, check out our forums. We have that open to sports, entertainment, pro wrestling, MMA, virtually anything you can think of. And if we don't have it, just let us know. We'll add that as well. Go check out Fightful.com, guys. We've got news updates all throughout the day. Baron Corbin defeated Ty Dillinger. AJ Styles is on commentary and puts over that his elbow pad will be auctioned off for hurricane relief. I like that. I thought that
kind of skew.
Styles plugged it very well, too. Like, very naturally. Very good stuff. Dillinger got a good reaction, Anna, and he was really aggressive out of the gate. I was very impressed that he could lift up Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
I like this match. They had a few really nice sections. I felt really bad when Ty got hung up in the ropes when Corbin tried to chuck him out at one point. But the fact that the cheap shot was to the throat, it was really simple. It wasn't the balls. It was something different. It was a nice little addition to this match. Where else will I remember this? Yeah, this is so completely irrelevant, and this will only make sense if you've seen the start of round 2 of the Mae Young Classic. Part of me just couldn't help but wonder what it would look like if Corbin attempted the Bel Air whip on Dillinger at this point. I kind of want to see that. Yeah, I liked it, and I really loved what they set up next in the backstage segment.
Yeah, AJ Styles offers Dillinger a title match next week in Vegas. Another big match on that show. Says that the United States Open Challenge is only open to Ty Dillinger. Jeff, what'd you think of this match and them setting up this title match next week? And do we get a clean finish out of it?
This is a nice little story that they're telling here with Ty Dillinger's involvement being more than just a guy out there to take losses. It really is a little bit nuanced.
Well, he is a guy out there to take losses, but they're doing it in a way where these guys are showing him props, and he's shown as a little bit of a threat.
Yeah, and he's being well served by the story as opposed to just taking the losses. There are reasons he's taking the losses. It took me a good 10 seconds to realize that it was AJ Styles yelling cheap shot as opposed to Byron Saxton all of a sudden getting a dose of personality that I thought was unwarranted. I was like, why is Byron Saxton all of a sudden yelling? And it hit me. Oh no, that's AJ Styles. Okay, got it. But I liked everything about this. I'm hoping that they do this to a finish and really pay it off in that Ty Dillinger gets a extended match, kind of like how Jason Jordan did last night, but loses ultimately in the end, as opposed to a Baron Corbin run-in. I don't want Baron Corbin down there on commentary to try and affect the match. I want a good, nice, clean match out of these two, to be honest.
Shout out to Gisberto Guzzo, who kept an O count tonight. 35 total in 4 matches for an average of 8.75. And that includes 4 in the Aiden English Sami Zayn match that barely existed. So outside of that, we're looking at over 9 per if you exclude that. But what did you think? I want your all's thoughts tonight on Corey Graves' commentary debut. And we haven't even talked about JBL leaving. JBL had been getting flight itineraries to show up basically 2 days early, and he goes, to hell with that. I'm changing this. For all the bad you can say about JBL, Jeff, I can't really blame him for that.
Yeah, it's a little bit too much of a commitment for the amount of work he has to do. I mean, he's not Jerry Lawler-ing it out there where he doesn't pay attention to the product at all. I mean, he comes in there, he has his foibles, he has his crutches that he does, but overall, I mean, you know, he's there to be the voice of the guy who's producing the show, which is Vince, and he doesn't need the 2 days of prep work in the town. I'm sorry, that's a bit much to ask of anybody. I don't blame him either. As for Corey Graves, count me in as a fan of the Corey Graves-Byron Saxton dynamic on commentary. I like the fact that I think it brings out the best in Byron, and I think it brings out what I like about Corey Graves' commentary more so than on the Raw show, where Corey's also kind of required to carry Booker T a bit because Booker T is such a loose cannon that Corey kind of has to be a little bit more of the straight and narrow as opposed to pure heel. But I mean, I don't mind Corey Graves a lot. I would have much rather had a new face on there, but there aren't many to choose from in their Rolodex, to be honest. So, I mean, this would have been a nice time to have Alex Riley back, but they don't.
Steel Horse is busy.
Mm-hmm.
He's busy. You all can see him, or you could have seen him on the list, and your boy airing 3 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. We had several segments with him. Anna, anything stick out with Corey Graves and commentary? To me, if nothing sticks out bad, that's pretty solid for WWE commentary.
Yeah, he said something at the end of at the end of Ty and Baron Corbin's match. Whether he's a step closer to the title is yet to be seen, but it's a step closer to the mind of AJ Styles. And that was enough for me to go, oh my God, thank you so much for coming in. I love Corey Graves. I have since he was wrestling in NXT and on commentary, and I think he works really great with both Byron and Tom Phillips. So I'm very happy with this. I didn't get to hear JBL's announcement because I learnt this week he blocked me. So I'm part of a very apparently not exclusive club. And we'll be meeting on Wednesdays.
We can start holding up 4 hands as a part, or 4 fingers as a part of that club for the 4,000 people that he has blocked on Twitter. There's a lot of us. A lot of us. He blocked me because I said that he was better without heavy WWE production. So, hey, man.
I have not yet been blocked. Do not at me with him involved in it.
No, I'm doing it now. Oh, it doesn't matter. He can't see me. I'm blocked.
Woo-hoo.
Top contender match, Nakamura and Randy Orton. Jeff, we can tell when Randy Orton's motivated.
Oh, yeah. That was, you know what? You just took my one note. Man, Randy Orton looked motivated for this match. And I thought Shinsuke, looked pretty motivated too. And he took, that bump to the table. I mean, that
outside that shitty enziguri he does, man, that's an ugly enziguri where he hits them with his ankle and takes a back bump with it. It's nasty, stupid looking.
Yeah, but there were some nice sequences in this.
There was. I like Nakamura whiffed on a kick, and then Orton had an RKO blocked early. It was a great way to set the tone. Orton teased hitting like a really uneven draping DDT to the outside, and I was like, I don't even want him to land that. Like, I don't want him to try it because it looked really horrifying.
Yeah, the only thing that Orton does that drives me insane, really, is now, especially with the RKO being such a heavy part of his match, is that teased RKO where he's just kind of like holding the guy like this. It doesn't really look like he's trying to execute it at all. It just looks that looks bad to me. I don't know about you guys, but that really takes me out of realism in a way. But other than that, I mean, let's not crap on Randy Orton any more than we have to. He looked really good here tonight. He
should hit one of those at some point. Like, just force it. Just force it and basically do a diamond cutter out of it. Like I said, Orton seemed motivated tonight. The quality of the match reflects that. Nakamura had a great RKO counter into an armbar. Then it gets turned into a triangle. Orton power bombs him. Then Nakamura hits the Kinshasa for the win. Anna, what did you think of the match?
It was a really cool match. I thought they both looked great, and they're definitely both into it and motivated. I did enjoy the touch of having Mahal and his Singh brothers up in the skybox. I like to think that the Singh brothers are just providing their own little commentary to Mahal about all the ancient kings throughout history who had to overcome adversity and just swapped Mahal's name in instead. But this is the thing about this. Like, it was a really cool match, and it was different than what we've seen from them both recently for the most part, but there just isn't much going on story-wise, and the title just doesn't feel important enough to merit a real kind of feud or heat to be built off it. And it kind of sucks that we're at this point, but that's the only real negative of what happened tonight.
Well, I tend to think that Nakamura getting the clean win here with no interference and no chicanery, I think this is a lot bigger in the eyes of the casual fan than most are going to, most of us who watch and kind of deconstruct this it gives it credit. I think this is really big for Shinsuke right now. I mean, it's not brand defining by any means. Don't get me wrong. I'm not overselling this, but I think in the eyes of the casual fan, getting a nice clean win over Randy Orton, I think that's a big deal.
I do too. I completely agree. Looks like Hell in a Cell is the direction they're going, with the idea that the Singh brothers have been involved in all of Jinder Mahal's title matches. Jinder Mahal is going to be at UFC 215 this Saturday. They got a Canadian Indian of their own that they're pushing. And Mahal's going to be there probably on screen during UFC Fight Pass. I was thinking about topics for a Fightful Books It, and I realized that down the line, I really want the Singh brothers to turn babyface and basically say that Jinder Mahal has misrepresented their people and become the Indian Hardy Boys. I would really love that. I think they can build up goodwill and have some good matches, Jeff.
I like the idea. I don't think
you never know.
Out of the two,
has
hold on.
million YouTube views.
Out of the two acts, you're gonna turn babyface. Are you gonna that you think Vince McMahon would turn babyface? You think it's gonna be the short 5'4" guys, or the tall guy with the muscular build and the vascularity that Vince likes?
Yeah, those wrestling fans can relate to him, huh?
Yeah. Well, you don't understand. He looks like a superstar. But do you think those YouTube stats are legit human eyeballs or bots?
It's not bots.
Okay.
It's not bots. I mean, some of them might be bots, but it ain't that many bots.
Why would I just
the numbers are too consistent across the board to be bots.
I just can't see rope patriotism being a reason to watch someone who hasn't ever really had a match on TV. I just can't.
They did. Did you see all the coverage she's getting in India?
Yeah, I saw it, and I don't believe it. I'm sorry, I don't believe it.
How do you not believe it? The fucking articles exist, Jeff.
No, I get, Sean. I know it's a thing that's real and it exists, but there's a part of me that just goes, what is? I mean, it would be kind of like, I don't understand or maybe, you know what, if they're not WWE fans, that's what it is. That's the way, like some local news stories or something. Here's a local person, blah, blah, and then they go watch it. But I just don't. It's like, wow, here's this wrestler who's never wrestled. I'm a wrestling fan. I'm going to go watch her, even though she's not very good. Okay.
Also, what happened, the Mae Young Classic, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, a lot of good here. Shayna Baszler looked awesome. Kairi Sane looked awesome. She whiffed on an elbow drop. It was more of a hip drop, but it still looked awesome. Bianca Belair, Jeff, as you said, you did a 180 on her. Candice LeRae looked good.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of good on this. Mm-hmm. Anna, did you get to watch this? Are you all caught up?
No, I watched the first episode of the second round. Oh, man. Kairi Sane versus Bianca Belair was insane. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this.
She's an 80s gimmick, and it's so weird because it's kind of a throwback thing. But I've never done a quicker 180 on someone, I don't think, because I saw her in NXT, and that first round against Sage, I thought, okay, she's all right. She's a power plant person. Sage has a little bit more experience. And then this match came on, and I'd put her on NXT now in that women's division. I would, and give her a push and put her against the Nikki Crosses. And if Asuka were around, I'd buy that match immediately. Strength and agility. She's for real. She can take bumps like a champ.
The hair whip. The hair
whip is a perfect kind of Bob Orton wearing a cast type of thing. And the welts on Kairi? I mean, my God, after those whips, I just went, I go, who is this? And what have I been seeing the first couple times I saw her on NXT television? Because this girl is awesome.
Speaking of the Mae Young Classic, Ronda Rousey, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir had an interaction with the three horsewomen. They scheduled it to where Sasha Banks was not in town. She was very puzzled by that decision based on a recent interview with Sam Roberts, but it's going down. Hey, your boys at Fightful.com broke the news that Ronda Rousey was training as a pro wrestler with Brian Kendrick. So this is going down, Jeff.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's the last match for Ronda. No, because I think it's gonna be a conduit to get to Stephanie Ronda, and I think that's kind of. I disagree. I don't think I think Ronda's a big deal to them, and maybe she's a big deal to the stand. But I mean, since losing the title and losing her last couple fights, she's a deal. But is she a bigger deal than sacrificing most of your workers in your women's division to get over her and her friends who have just started training and aren't going to be long term in the company?
Sacrificing.
In a way, it is. I mean, to me, look, there are certain people you can have celebrities beat. I have no problem with that from time to time. You know, people that aren't seen as stars, but you're going to have Ronda and you're going to have Shayna, who's a very good wrestler for 2 years in. You're going to have Ronda, Jessamine, and Marina, who a couple months of training, and then you're going to have 4 professionals who are very good.
Well, it's worth noting. I mean, not like Jessamine has never taken bumps before. She's been training with Josh Barnett for years now. Like she's been there for quite a while. And I'm not going to say she's the next Dynamite Kid or anything, but I mean, Marina.
If I can quote Allen Iverson, but we talking about practice there.
Sure. I mean, hell, practice is a part of it. You got to practice. You got to practice, Jeff. Unless you're D'Angelo Williams. Unless you're D'Angelo Williams, that ain't going to work like that. Yeah. And any additional thoughts on what you saw of the Mae Young Classic and maybe this Ronda Rousey storyline?
Well, just going off what Jeff said, I get where you're coming from with that. It should be about building the division. Given we're still only 2 years into the whole turnaround, and it still has a lot of work to go and a lot of work to do, and that should be the focus of it. And I don't trust that is going to be the primary focus if they do bring Ronda Rousey in and up. If she is there for a long time, then it won't hurt it as bad. But if this is just a one-off celebrity deal, then please don't do this.
I may be totally off here because this is what they do. They like to do the spectacle, and then they get the media thing, and it does well for the company overall. And I'm looking at it like a wrestling fan as opposed to sports entertainment. I get that I probably have a blind spot in here, but I mean, they have enough problems scripting the 4 horsewomen on their roster, let alone building a match here as well. So I mean, there's all sorts of
things. So lucky.
Yeah,
Jinder Mahal got his ass kicked weekly by Rob Gronkowski, and now look at him. He got the Gronk rub. Talk about the Gronk spike. Also worth noting that outside of the Battle Royal, the early Battle Royal, no celebrity has ever lost at WrestleMania. Ever. A little fact for you guys. Jeff, tell the people where they can follow ye.
You can follow me at CrapGame13. You can follow the other show I do at Shake Them Ropes this week. Me and Chris Novembrino of Lucha of the Hidden Temple, because Rob's on suspension. We'll go over WWE and the Mae Young Classic.
Suspension? What do you mean?
Kayfabe, brother. Kayfabe. He's in Vegas right now. But he also made a few comments on last week's show that offended the sensibilities, and so I had to take action and suspend him.
Does he have to eat a hat to get back on?
He ain't ever eaten that hat.
He's never eaten that hat. He might, he's going to come back from Vegas and said, I ate the hat in Vegas, and then, lie to us all. So
evidence or it didn't happen.
How long's it been? How long did he put that off? It's been almost a year. It's a year this month. I know that. Like, at what point do you just find a tortilla hat or something and eat the damn thing?
I'm not the guy to yell at here.
Come on, this is on you too. It's a year this weekend. September 10th, 2016.
Sean Ross Sapp, if I had proximity, I would drive down to his house and I would shove a hat down his gullet. Okay, I would. And I never use the word gullet, but I'd shove a hat down one if I could. And he'd be choking on that for the viewing pleasure of YouTube and the people who constantly remind me that Rob hasn't eaten the hat. Do you know how many tweets about this I get?
That's all people talk about on our members only show.
You can tweet, yes, because Rob was on it. You can tweet Rob at Shake Them Ropes and say, eat the damn hat, Rob. Hashtag eat the damn hat.
I was trying to find out why he ruined
the WWE Women's Championship. Yes.
I was trying to find out why he ruined Flow Slam and made it what it is today. And meanwhile, everybody's like, eat a damn hat. And I'm like, bro, y'all had to get memberships to say this. Like, what are you doing, guys? Like, I'm sitting there saying, hey, brother, why'd you pass on the Flow Slam gig? And people are like, no, we don't care about that. We don't care.
Hat, Rob. Well, see, they're vengeful people. These fans of ours that listen to these shows because they know that Rob made. Rob made a promise for the hat. Yes, he did.
He promised something, and he needs to deliver the spectacle.
I am not disagreeing with this. I don't want to be involved anymore. Eat the hat, Rob.
Anna, tell them where they can follow you.
At Anna Bauert, Bauert on Twitter, Instagram. And
hey, if you guys,
I don't know what my YouTube thing is, but you can find it there.
If you guys want to support us, head over to prowrestlingtees.com/Fightful. Of course, subscribe to us, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube. Get the word out about Fightful. Share our stories on Reddit, on Twitter, on Facebook. Comment on our stories. That stuff helps too. Also, guys, FightfulPods.com. We got that UFC 215 post show. We got the list and your boy tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, we're out.